What is going on, guys? This is your host AZ back with another video, and these past few days I've been a lot busy gathering out the benchmarks of the new graphics card, the RX 470 that AMD just launched on the 4th this month. But with the launch of this new graphics card, I'm seeing a lot of guys just wondering to themselves or asking out on the forums that what graphics card should you buy for your money, because there is an RX 470 for 180 MSRP, an RX 480 for 200 MSRP, for 240 MSRP, and a GTX 1060 which is for 250 MSRP. So which graphics card should you buy? To answer that question, when you guys go ahead online and look for the benchmarks for the RX 470 graphics card, you find great variance in results. That's because all of these benchmark sites are using different graphical options for each game. So what I did, I actually went online to each of these sites. I gathered all the sites' results which were for the stock RX 470. And the stock RX 470 is at 1206 MHz core and 1750 MHz memory. I got all those game results from different sites for the stock graphics card and averaged them out. And that only took me like 5 to 6 hours to just writing and averaging the numbers out. But finally, when I succeeded in doing this, I put all those results in Excel sheet and extracted graphs showing the performance difference between the RX 470, 480 and the GTX 1060. Now as you can see, these are the comparative charts for the GTX 1060, RX 480 and the RX 470. Now the first two games, The Witcher 3 and The Rise of the Tomb Raider, are GameWorks titles, and I wanted to include at least 2 games in this benchmark comparison just to see that how these cards stack up in those GameWorks titles. One of the other things that I want to tell you guys is The Rise of the Tomb Raider. In Rise of the Tomb Raider, I used DX11 testing only because the DX12 of this game is a little bit broken and people say that it is not a good implementation of the DX12 API. So with that said, now as you can see, GTX 1060 topping out in both those GameWorks benchmarks. With the Hitman DX12, it's a different story. Even the RX 470 is beating the GTX 1060 graphics card, which is at $250 MSRP. Now the price difference between these two graphics cards is around about $50 to $70. Now what is the gist of these benchmarks? As you can see, 3 of the games here are DX11 and 3 of the games are at DX12 and Vulkan. In each of the DX11 games, we see that GTX 1060 handily beats the 2 RX 480 and the RX 470. But with the DX12 and Vulkan benchmarks, we see that the RX 470 and the GTX 1060 are right neck on neck, and the RX 480 is beating both of them. Now in these benchmarks, the RX 480 is the 8GB version. I didn't include the RX 480 4GB benchmark here, and that's what I'm going to tell you now that why I did that. If you get an RX 470 that's worth $200 with an aftermarket cooler and better cooling, better OC at 1270 MHz maximum, you get this much of a performance boost. And for the hell of it, it's even coming close to an RX 480 8GB as stock. Now as you can easily see and tell from this chart that an RX 470 4GB OC model aftermarket model which is worth $200 is right equivalent to an RX 480 4GB reference model. I don't want to go deep into the advantages of an aftermarket card versus the reference card in this video, but going with an aftermarket card you will get lower noise levels and better cooling. If you guys are wondering that why are there zeros in these charts, then that's because for these 2 games I couldn't find any benchmarks for the RX 470 OC to 1270 MHz. Now to answer this question once and for all, that which card do you buy for your money? These benchmarks clearly show that if you have got $250 in your pocket to spare for a graphics card, and you don't care about better performance in DX12 and Vulkan in the future, then even the cheapest GTX 1060 would be able to give you better performance than these 2 AMD cards in DX11 games. And if you have $250 to spare and you care about DX12 games and you don't want lower performance in DX12 games in the future, then RX 480 is going to be the only choice you have. At least as of now, it's looking like AMD is going to be ahead of Nvidia in DX12 games in the future. But for now, if you have got $250 to spare and you want a card that's better for DX12, go with the RX 480 8GB. And if you want amazingness in DX11 games, go with the GTX 1060, no brainer. But for all those guys who want to go with an RX 480 4GB version, I would recommend you guys to go with an RX 470 4GB aftermarket version. because it's gonna give you better cooling and lower noise levels at the same value of performance. There are many aftermarket RX 470 cards that are at 1270 MHz boost clocks, and you can go ahead and buy them at $200 easily. If you guys want some recommendation on which aftermarket RX 470 you should buy, then the PowerColor RX 470 Red Devil OC model runs at 1270 MHz boost clock and also has round about 67 degrees max load temperatures. Now this video is not sponsored by PowerColor in any way, and I'm just randomly recommending a card according to my likings. But it would be nice if PowerColor gave me a card to review. It will be awesome and I'll review it honestly. Alright guys, so I hope this video helped you out in determining which card you should buy. And I hope that you have already smashed that like button, and if you've not, just do it please, because this video was a hell of a work to do. And subscribe for the future amazing videos. And I love you guys. Stay awesome. Peace.